Hey everybody, Marvin here, Westcoat Blacktop Banter, and I'm out doing some estimating today, and I wanted to stop by and check on this project. This is a driveway, as you can see. It's very old. We've seal coated it now for a while. It actually had all the weather checking and stuff like that when we first got here. The customer had debated on whether to replace it or not, opted to go with us and see if we could at least keep it here for them for a while. I believe we've had this client now 10 years. So they were on the fence on whether or not to replace. We have prolonged it and kept it here for 10 years. But what I really want to talk about is the sealer and why it doesn't hold up underneath trees. So the upper portion of this driveway is out in the open. It does have some pine needles on it and things from the wind up here in the upper portion. But when we go down there, you'll see that underneath the trees, it's wearing and flaking, and everything that I always mention, it does underneath trees. So let's get to it. So I'll try to get a little close here, but you can see the sealer is still here pretty well. It is a rainy day, makes it a little hard to see, but this is right up tight. There's some pine needles and things there, but for the most part, you can see that the sealer is still nice and black, nice and rich. There's pine needles here, right? So they're here, and I'm sure if we get underneath of the corners, you'll see some wear. Even in the puddles here, it's still sealer, but there's some dirt and stuff settled in there, but it hasn't flaked up here. Tons of dirt there, but even underneath there, the sealer is still there. So what we're going to talk about is down that lane. As you can see, looks beautiful still here, nice and rich and black and covered perfectly. So let's go down this way and check it out. Now this used to be a huge problem area right here, as it would not stay for anything, right? But last fall they cut this tree down, and now the sealer is holding right there. There is some dirt and crud along the way, but the sealer is still under there, and still out here, still covered very well. Now we get underneath these big boys here. As you can see, I'm standing directly under, and as we go down, you can see the rock starting to get exposed. You can see the rock there where the sealer is starting to wear off. Now, as you can see, there's stuff going down the driveway off of this tree. The farther we go down, as this driveway does taper down, the sediment and everything from underneath the tree starts to go down this way, especially along this edge as it's tapered that way, and you can see some exposed rock. Now the farther down this driveway we go, everything from this tree is coming down, washing down, and then this tree, everything falls and washes down. Then at the very bottom there's another one, and that washes down. So you'll notice that this has some wear right underneath the tree. And then when you get down here, it compounds because of this tree and this tree right there. At the very end, you'll see three compounding wear, or three compounding effects of the trees wearing the asphalt and what it looks like. So let's go take a look at that too. So this is still underneath the runoff of the first tree, which is both of these. They look like locusts. Maybe I'm wrong, tree experts. Looks like ash maybe. That one definitely looks like an ash because of the emerald ash borer. But we get going down here, and you can see starting to get some more wear. Still the first tree, right? Now we're underneath the second tree. There's the first one, here's the second one. And it's starting to wear a lot more than it did underneath the first tree as we're going down. The other thing is, these are the drive lines too of the vehicles as they go up. So any of this residual, like bark off of trees, pine needles, leaves, whatever, is under here causing friction underneath the tires as they don't wash their driveway off, and it's abrasive. So here we are underneath the second tree. You can see the wear is exponentially, probably double what it was underneath the first tree. So as we move down, we get underneath the third tree, which a branch broke off of. Now you can really see the wear, right? Here we are. Get out here and there's quite a bit more. So why does this happen? What is it, right? We get that question a lot. And why only underneath the trees? Well, what happens is this stuff comes off the trees, right? And it gets into a porous pavement, right? Porous, I mean, there's air void. There is, air voids in there. I don't want the phone to die, so I got to plug it in. All right, so there's air voids in there. Those air voids get filled with something, right? Sometimes it's water. When there's not water, it's air. You have a wet pavement with stuff that has been ground up by the tires, real fine. It travels with the water into those air voids. Now, you get a sealant that goes on top of that. As things biodegrade, they create gas. That gas has to escape from those air voids. It's not going to go down. It's going to come up. And it comes up underneath the sealer, causes it to unbond, and then here we are having wear. Each tree underneath, as it exponentially has more of that organic material that falls off and goes into the pavement, underneath that tree, it gets worse and worse and worse. As it comes downhill, each set of trees, it got worse. Now, there are some trees that put off a lot more, and it wears very fast. Evergreens, they definitely do. And combined with the acidity that is in evergreens and the pine needles and things, go ahead, bite one time. You'll see how tangy it is with the acidity from pine. That also deteriorates sealer or anything, any kind of an emulsion or polymer or anything. Acid also does that. So when you combine those two underneath evergreens, they are usually a lot worse when it comes to wearing and flaking underneath there. Now, that used to not always be the case. There were oils in sealer, right? You could have oil-based, gilsonite, whatever, and it used to hold a lot better because it would just repel that stuff and it would absorb into the pavement and you wouldn't have any issues or anything like that. That doesn't exist anymore.